Brothers and sisters, President Nelson has asked that I handle the business of the solemn assembly for which we are gathered today. This is an occasion of great significance for members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints throughout the world. Dating from October 10th, 1880, when John Taylor was sustained to succeed Brigham Young, it is proposed that the first presidency sustain Russell Marion Nelson as prophet, seer, and revelator, and president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
This is not the Church of Emmanuel, Christ of Latter-day Saints, of Joseph Smith. This is the Church of Jesus Christ. When we remove the Lord's name, Emmanuel, from the name of his church, we inadvertently remove him as the central focus of our worship and our lives. After all he had endured, and after all he had done for humankind, I realized with profound regret that we have unwittingly acquiesced in the Lord's restored church being called by other names, each of which expunges the sacred name of Emmanuel. Thus, the name of the church is not negotiable. It is the command of the Lord. To remove the Lord's name from the Lord's church is a major victory for Satan.
Travis Wayne Goodsell, Church News Time. I'm a bit somber. Had just gone over the major women in my life. Obviously, they're all tragedies. Tragedy. Could that be the theme song in the description below? Maybe. I like Steps' version. Is that a Freudian? So, oh my God. The church is now treating Nelson as if he's dead. They're all giving their obituary speeches for him today. Because he's celebrated 6 years now. It was on January 14th when he assumed authority, but it technically was when Monson died. That's the way the Articles of Incorporation set it up. Anybody watch that video? Nobody cared? Nobody wants to learn the truth, huh? Okay, whatever. Your consequences. I warned you. And then they did I hate these. It's where you just throw words on a page. And yeah, I was taught that in creative writing class, and I didn't like it then either. It wasn't my way. And so they just include a whole bunch of stuff that describe him according to them. So governed by doctrine. Whose doctrine? Because it's not the Doctrine and Covenants or the Book of Mormon. I just did that last night. He's not governed by doctrine. Dear God. That's just... Yeah, when they're dead, everybody loves you. Oh, he was the greatest. He was so kind, thoughtful, courteous, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, reverent, and straight, morally straight. God. Spiritual depth, spiritually dead, confident, loves God, the false idol God, light of Christ, dear God, decisive, do it or die, okay, gentle, humble, kind, compassion, sees the one. Yeah, he saw me several times. He was angry. I've told you about that, haven't I? Should I bring this up again? Focuses on blessings, meek, remembers names. Yeah, every temple worker. When I hear them talking about him, yeah, that's the one thing they say. He always remembers my name. And they're surprised. But, yeah, the first time one-on-one with Russell Marion Nelson, I think that's how you'd find the video, is type in my one-on-one with Russell Marion Nelson or something like that, President Nelson, whatever. And if it's not on this channel, it's on the TWG. But I had just gotten out of my 6-year concentration camp disappearment and torture and attempted murder, and was at the downtown Smith's Superstore, which was my first time back at a store. And I'm there wandering around on the second floor, tried to find what I'm looking for some basic necessities, as I have to rebuy everything. And I had some money that I was given to get a couple of items, because they don't want to give me all the restitution for damages, because I might buy drugs or Mountain Dew or something. And they can't trust me. They're the ones that kidnapped me and held me hostage for 6 years and tortured me, trying to murder me, and then eternally punish me. But anyway, and so as I'm wandering around, not a single store clerk came up to ask if I needed any help. And there, from across the way, I saw Nelson. He had a shopping cart. He was in a suit. And he looks over at me, and I look at him, and I go, hey, he looks familiar. It's been 6 years. Nelson, by the way, was the one who not only assisted in ordering all 15, 6 years previous, ordered my incarceration, and paid, rewarded the person who they ordered to do it. I got the receipt. Nonetheless, despite Nelson's guilt that he will never be able to pay back, he's then gets a little angry, because he's expecting that I would know who he is and immediately want to go up and talk with him, and then he would say, I'm trying to find such and such, and then I would say, oh, it's over here. No. I never do that to celebrities. I didn't do it to that Mormon football player dude guy who didn't get married until he became a menace to society because of his third grade grandfather. Which not accurate, but that's the myth. And many others of lesser known stature. But yeah, I needed help. He didn't come to me to say, "Hey, who are you? My name's Russell Marion Nelson. I'm an apostle for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I see you look lost too." No. But then I saw from behind him a store clerk coming up. She sees me first, but he's in the suit. I'm in the hand-me-down, worn-out clothes. I had yet to be able to have the money to buy what I need to have bought. Levi jeans and Hanes t-shirts with the pocket. Gotta have the pocket. And Hanes socks and Hanes Ironic wear. And which still, I complicated story, I didn't leave the church yet, so still had the magic underwear then. And shoes. It was still Adidas. My Adidas hadn't worn out to where I needed a new pair yet, as they carried through 6 years. And she goes right to the suit, and of course she notices it's him, and her face lights up. "Can I help you?" "Oh, yes." Yeah. And so that was that first experience. Then I was able to sneak back into the temple with the temple recommend. And of course I go right back to doing my family genealogy and doing those temple names. And so I'm going in, and I don't think I needed to go to the temple name desk where they would back then print them up for me. This was before they went to have us print them up for ourselves. And you still had to go past the desk to go down those stairs. You weren't allowed to go the other stairs. Those were for people coming up. Nonetheless, nobody cares. Everybody does what they do. But nonetheless, and so heading that way to be the good boy, Nelson's there. And his second wife is the one who does all the genealogy work, and has him do it while he's at Temple Square for his daily meeting, his business, his job. And so yeah, he's got this big old pile that she had him have printed out, and instead of going downstairs, he went back to go out the front door again. I guess to go that way to work rather than go downstairs and through the tunnel system to avoid public viewing. But he turns and he drops several of the names because it was a big pile. Didn't secure them well enough or have something to put them in. And so as he was leaning down to pick them up, there were a bunch of others who rushed to help pick them up, so I just stayed back and waited for the crowd to disperse before I went down the stairs. Because again, I don't care about celebrities. They're normal. I let them be. But as they then saw that it was well in hand, they then left, and as he's picking up the last little few, he looks up, sees me, and he remembers faces too. His countenance falls as he gets angry. You're the one who didn't help me at Smith's. He doesn't say anything. He just gets angry. And I'm just there smiling because, yeah, Mormons, they're all like that, aren't they? And because I've seen other apostles. I've done my one-on-one with Elder Scott, Ballard, Faust, and sort of Monson, but not really. That was just a dream. Gordon B. Hinckley, also dream. But yeah, I did see him, but it wasn't a one-on-one. He was getting a ride home. I did see Monson. No, I did. He was in a car heading out of his apartment building across the street from Temple Square. That's right. I was helping a friend move into that apartment building. And that's when I saw him in his car. And then he was driving too. He wasn't being driven. But another time I was down to do initiatories, and I had to wait until Nelson had finished his session so that there would be a space available. And then once he got into the session, then they sent me to fill in for him in that spot. And so I didn't see him there, but I knew that he was there because the ordinance workers were saying that they needed Nelson to finish to get me in. So, yeah. That's that with that. But there's a big problem that Mormons are in denial of, purposely, because the church lies. And Sarah Jane Weaver, the one doing this article, oh God, gotta go all the way to the top, says in the second paragraph, President Nelson was set apart as the 17th president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. There's two. 6 years ago, on January 14th, 2018. This is wrong. Are Protestants Catholics? Are Presbyterians Catholics? Are Evangelicals Catholics? Are Baptists Catholics? Are Methodists Catholics? Etc., etc., etc. The answer is no. And so thus, every single Christian church, once they broke off, formed a new church. And the leader of their new church starts their new church as a branch off. They all claim to be Christian, but they're smart enough to know they're not the Second Catholic Church of Methodists or Lutherans or Baptists. This is a no-brainer. No-brainer. You change the name, you change the doctrine, you're a new church. You just started it. Nonetheless, when Joseph Smith was assassinated, the Succession Crisis, Latter-day Saints, on Wikipedia, shows what they claim are the main branches of the LDS movement. And these are pretty much the ones who have continued on. And so you've got the William Bickerton, the Church of Jesus Christ. He's somewhat of a branch off from Sidney Rigdon, which was the Church of Christ. He went back to that. But he's referred to as the Rigdonites, as successors called it. They're not the second successive presidents of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints of Joseph Smith, for several reasons. One, that was never Joseph's name of his church. Sidney Rigdon knew the name. He was the one that raised his hand to have it changed in 1834, and it never changed since till Joseph's dying day. Nonetheless, Oliver Cowdery believed that it was changed by Joseph. After he had left, David Whitmer came and said, Joseph changed the name of his church. That's Sidney Rigdon. He's an evil man. Turn Joseph. You know, obviously Joseph didn't have any plates, but still, he was a good man. That Sidney Rigdon turned him evil. If you're not gonna want to learn the truth, quit making things up. Nonetheless, Granville Hendrick, the Church of Christ, Temple Lot. Yeah. See, as a seminary student, I'm learning about this, and I'm going, oh no, how are we going to get to Missouri? Is there going to be some kind of a miracle where they just give it over to us, and then we can have the temple built for Zion? They know about this. They aren't selling it. They're not giving it up for that reason. And yet, that's not even the land. That's not the place. 19 July 1840, Joseph Smith Papers. Oops. Everybody got it wrong. That Brigham, spreading the lies. Everybody believes them. And so then we have Joseph Smith III, Community of Christ. Yep, Joseph Smith's son. When he was an older man, he decided, I'm going to go check out this Brighamite thing and see what's going on there. And that's why he called it the Reorganized Church of Jesus Christ, is because of Brigham Young. He fell for Brigham Young's lies too. But successors would eventually call it the Community of Christ. You know, if anything, he won against the Temple Lot to be considered the true successor of Joseph Smith. Not Brigham. But the Temple Lot was awarded by the judge the land. And so, yeah, that was an interesting Temple Lot case is what it's called. But Mormons are in denial of all of this. They have to be. Because Brigham has to be true in order for them to be true. But Brigham isn't true, because what about all these others, Mormons? We still have two more. One more. James Strang called it the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. You know, he was able to show that he's a translator because he found ancient plates buried and was able to render a translation for us so that we were able to see the plates and see the translation, and he just happened to have a document saying that Joseph Smith authorized him to lead the church in his absence as when he dies, which Brigham Young also had. Joseph Smith III was the son, and there were others who claimed that Joseph Smith had whispered to them that his son was supposed to lead. The only one who didn't come up with a whacked out theory was Sidney Rigdon, the one who was a part of the beginning. Oh, you don't know about that? You haven't been following my channel? You don't know that Sidney Rigdon's the major author of the Book of Mormon. As a fact. So yes, Sidney Rigdon was involved from the beginning. And he's the only one that didn't go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And so yeah, Brigham Young, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Not the Church of the Latter-day Saints, which is what Sidney Rigdon raised his hand in 1834 and suggested it be changed to. And so I've been asked numerous times, and several lately, well then who is the one true church? Joseph! Well yeah, we're the 17th president! Oh my God! Do you not even study your scriptures? Because Nelson, he's not a... What was the word? Dear God, I gotta go scroll down over me. Governed by doctrine. I mean, well, yeah, governed by the forged documents that violate the Book of Mormon and the Joseph Smith's words. Those documents, God, and they're easy to spot if you just did simple basic research. You know, Mormons do that for genealogy. Some do. There are some who do baptisms for Michael Jackson and Mickey Mouse, who's no longer under copyright. But God, I mean, it just, how hard is this, Mormons? Seriously, to actually think that you're the one true church because you were born and raised in the one true church, and you have no clue, and you don't even care about the others because we're told by the one true church that they're apostate Korah whores. Well, guess what they say about us? Exactly. What arrogance it is for Mormons to think that they're the one true church. And they don't even bother to study. It's all just the feeling they get. You know, and I was told it, especially for youth, that John By the Way guy, you know, he'd be doing relationship talking, and that's why I would go to them, and I'd be sitting all by myself in the back as a teenager. And he'd be talking about how, you know, you go out on a date with a girl, and it was so wonderful and so awesome, and she smelled so good, and you were rolling in the hay, and you get back, and you get on your hands and knees at your bed, and you pray to Heavenly Father, is she the one? And you can still smell her, you can still have, you've got the memories on your mind. And so, yeah, it feels good to say, yes, she's the one. But, oops, you marry her. And she crushes you. She rips off your testicles, throws them in the blender, frappes them all over the room, and then kicks you out. I saw that on the news. In Japan, they have a thing every year or so about strengthening your marriage by kicking your husband out on his ass. They've got videos of the wife throwing the husband. Dear God. It's not necessary. All you need is love. Why can't anybody love? Why is that too hard? Anyway, tragedy. Yeah, it's working. Still gonna have it at the theme song description below, it looks like. So, yeah. The church does not follow Joseph Smith or the Book of Mormon. They just steal them, claim them as theirs, but they've changed them. If you're not going to follow it, if you're not going to use the same name, if you're going to interpret the scriptures completely different into a different doctrine, yeah, you're a different church. And therefore you cannot claim to be a succession from them. You are a branch off. You have claimed that the original was wrong, and you're doing it better, as you claim. Every single one of those are. Not a single one of them did it right. Section 107, verse 22. And because nobody did it right, Joseph Smith's fallback, section 43, Joseph gets to appoint his successor, which is why everybody claimed to have a document signed by him. But they didn't even first try to do section 107.22. But Joseph Smith in scripture gave his successor. It's the Latter-day Christ, who would be a Mormon. And Mormons would know him by his fruits. And they would reject him and try to murder him and lock him up and hide him from the world and try to murder him and punish him and destroy him and make his life miserable and lonely and a tragedy. So that Mormons would never have to have a Christ and never have Zion in the right location too. If you're not going to follow you don't know where X marks the spot is. Oh my God. Southern Illinois. Well, what is the true church then? See, Joseph Smith is the Church of the Lamb. So who's the Church of the Devil? Every single one of those. There are only two churches. And you caught on by now?